Ain't you sick of giving me your money?
Oh, ish. Oh. I know he didn't do it, baby.
Hold on a second. Whoa. Where you going?
No, I'm about to go make these drop balls.
What's going on, everybody? This is your boy Bradley DLO Thomas. By day, I am a marketing professional. By night, I am a MC and producer by passion. And I pass the mic.
What's going on? It's Corey Dashed Up Whitmore. By day, I'm doing Media 22, Studio 22, Radio 22. By night, I wish I could be an MC again. But
MCs, real MCs never die. You know what I'm saying? So, Corey, you got too many things going on. Like just the everything. The everything, man. We have a very talented, very cool individual that we're going to be talking to today. He is the owner of Perfect Move martial arts school here in Madison, Wisconsin. He's also the owner and founder of Bushido. Hopefully I pronounced that right, Lawrence. 3 promotions, and not just here locally, nationally. He's global. He's also a top executive at First Supply, and much salute to you, Lawrence. He's a veteran of the United States Army, and a dedicated father. So people call him Lawrence Pearson, but other people call him Master P. So welcome, Master P, to the show, y'all.
I love that.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction.
Yeah, for sure, man. Thank you for your time, and I appreciate you doing this for me. I know we've been talking back and forth, and we finally set this up. So I'm excited to talk to you about your journey. So that's really going to be the first question that I'm curious about, like, what kind of initially got you into martial arts? I mean, eventually we're going to start talking about like the business side of it too. But
Sure.
what was it that kind of like sparked you to get to the point where you are right now in your life?
The funny and amazing thing it is, in the 1980s, actually in 1984, I watched that movie Karate Kid.
Oh, snap.
I watched it 200, maybe 300 times and kept begging my parents to put me in karate. I wanted to be a black belt. I wanted to be a champion. And my uncle, Alan Franklin, owned a company called F&H Printing. And there's a man that came in to get some flyers made for his karate school. And he said, well, if you ever have anybody that wants to sign up, bring them on by. And my mom talked with him. And February 14th, 1987, my Valentine's gift was signing up for karate. Yeah.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. Cool.
So do you have, man, I can only imagine, do you have like a life philosophy that you have lived by, or something that kind of a philosophy or a quote that kind of guides your journey with all the different things that you've been a part of and done and now built? Is there something that really sticks out to you or sticks with you?
Yeah, so my dad always being in my life, and both my parents raising me. I saw how hard my dad worked, and he was never outworked. And meaning, like, I think that he only called in 5 times in 36, 37 years. Even when he was sick, if he was sick, he'd go and throw up and then get ready, go to work, So one of my things I live by is that I promise myself and my students, my family, and my subordinates at work that I will not be outworked. And so my goal is to work harder than my competition, take it to the max. And then when it's time for me to hang it up, I can say I accomplished every goal that I have set for myself.
Nice. Clear and concise, very to the point. So, I mean, What about those times when you don't want to do it? Because I know, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's always times in everybody's life where it's like, I gotta go hard, you know, like I read I like David Goggins' book. I like Relentless as well. That kind of reminded me of that mentality. But like, what is it for you? Is there anything that kind of like pushes you to keep going when I know you don't feel like doing it?
Yeah. Once you're a champion, you want to stay champion. And
Right.
same thing in my day job. I'm considered successful in my day job, and so I don't want to be considered unsuccessful. And I don't like second place. I don't like second place. I'm a very competitive person. Um, so that's what drives me is, do I want to say I'm the second best? No. I want to be able to say that, hey, I'm number one, or I'm top, or I'm looked at as one of the leading people in my field, whether it's martial arts, whether it was as a soldier, or whether it was working at First Supply in the job that I did. Yeah.
That
Cool.
that competitiveness, like when I've looked at my back on my own life and me considering myself someone hyper competitive, I've always failed to see where it originated. But I do want to ask you, you know, where do you feel that competitiveness, you know, really started? Was it something that was passed on, maybe from, you know, from your father that you saw, or something that you saw from, or something that kind of just built up inside you?
Um, Going back to the Karate Kid, seeing the work that was put in to get a championship trophy, to get a black belt, seeing my parents how hard they worked in life, and seeing their successes. Definitely, I always just really said I want to be good at something. I knew I wasn't going to be a professional basketball player. I'm 5'9". Not saying that you can't make it to the NBA,
True,
but
true.
I also wanted to be a professional fighter. I wanted to be a professional bodybuilder. I never became a professional bodybuilder, but I became a national level bodybuilder, which is one step from being a professional. And so every time I talk to somebody or try to motivate people, I say to them that you can do it. You have to put your mind to it. It's going to be work, and it's not going to be easy. When I was in high school and college, I used to get laughed at because I wouldn't go out on dates sometimes. I wouldn't go out to the parties. I didn't go to a party until I was almost 18, 19 years old. And it paid off to this day because those same very people that are partying, they come to me and ask me for advice. Hey man, I just need to sharpen up, lose a couple pounds, or hey, can you put my kid in your gym? Or I know somebody wants to be a fighter. So it really helped me stay on that path, because I wanted to be known as, hey, Lawrence is a good bodybuilder, or Lawrence is a good martial artist, and also Lawrence is a good worker. I always heard people say positive things about my father when he'd take me around to his job, or when we'd be going to the National Conference of State legislators from all of our country talking about my father. And so I said, that's how I want to be. I want people, when they talk about Lawrence Pearson and the legacy that he leaves, is that he was a good man, that he was a stand-up man, and that he would help his community and be there for anybody that needs his help.
That's dope, man. That's dope. You know, I was never one of them dudes that I was probably one of them dudes that was partying at 18. No lie. I mean, you know, I mean, we met in college. And I have reached out to you a couple times. I think I still got some of your workout plans. I don't know if I actually did them though. But I'm working on it. You know what I'm saying? I'm working on it. With that being said, though, let's talk about your martial arts school. So you took this to a whole nother level, like you do with everything. So tell us a little bit. Tell us a little bit about that. Like how did you start that? In terms of like build up the business. You know, getting the clientele. Like what was that process like? And was there any parallels between that and like what you had to go through in the military, or what you've had to go through as a professional, you know, executive?
Right. So it started out in martial arts, where I got my black belt at 16, going on 17 years old. And after I got my black belt, my instructor asked me if I wanted to teach, and I said, yeah. So I went through the certification process and learned how to be an instructor, learned how to run a business at 16. I was the assistant head instructor by 17 years old. So I was signing people up, bringing money in, scheduling, doing all those things. And then by the time I was 18 in high school, A school teacher reached out to me and said, "Hey, I got a couple people in the ALA program, Accelerated Learning Academy, that would like to do martial arts. Can you come teach?" And so that's how it started. I started teaching martial arts there.
Mm.
And then Gold's Gym on Highway 30 back in
I remember that.
late 90s.
Mhm.
It was a huge gym, one of the best in the world, actually. It had one of the owners, the actual owner, was a martial artist back in the day with my instructor. And he was like, "Hey, I saw that you just won a competition." I was like, "Yeah, I just won." And he was like, "Well, why don't you teach here?"
Hmm.
And he
Okay.
said, "I can make you 70% owner of your business and we'd be 30." And he was like,
Wow.
"This would be your business." And so I did it. And the very first week I had classes, I think I had 40 something people in class, and we
Mm.
never dipped that far under 20 people per class. The program ran very strong. And then I got deployed, and Gold's Gym got sold. And my sister was over in Iraq and got to come back after 6 months. I talked to my mom and sister, and my mom's like, "Hey, we're going to set up an LLP all the way so that you and Clarissa can do this when you get back." And we kept some of our students that we had, and we started off at the Wilmar Neighborhood Center when I got back from Iraq, and the gym started to grow from there. We had people that are like, "Hey, we want to do a point fighting tournament." So we're like, "Sure, fine." So for about 4 or 5 years, we were undefeated in point fighting tournaments. All our students were. My sister was competing. I pretty much kind of hung up the gloves from competing. I was competing in Hungary when I was deployed in Hungary, and had a successful run there. But I said, I don't really care about competition anymore. I just want to see the gym grow. And it was growing.
Mhm.
And then we had people come in and said, "Hey, we want to do MMA." And
Okay.
so I was like, "Well, I'm not that good on the ground," but my grandmother had brought Helson Gracie into Madison for a couple weeks, and I got to train under Helson Gracie, which is the highest ranking Gracie, living Gracie right now.
Hmm.
And I was able to train under him, but my jujitsu is not on that level. I'm a stand-up martial artist. But I said, "Yeah, let's do an MMA fight." So my student went out
Mm.
there, did well, but lost. I regrouped with my sister. We revamped our curriculum. And after we did that, we won 3 fights in a row in MMA. And then more people started
Dope.
coming to us in MMA. And a couple fights later, we won 4 in a row. And our students
Mm.
started really taking off, and the gym
Nice.
started to grow. And then some other students are like, "Hey, we want to do the Muay Thai championships." And we did the Muay Thai championships. We lost. I'm also trained in Muay Thai. And I was like, "Man, we got to regroup again, redo the
Yeah.
curriculum again." So that's what we did.
Hmm.
And the following year, we went off and won some fights there, got second place overall in this is the largest Muay Thai tournament in the nation, if not the world. And
Hmm.
so our got second place in it as an
Wow.
adult. And then we started hooking up with other gyms, and people started coming to me for kickboxing and Muay Thai. And I was over watching a fight in Chicago,
Mhm.
and I met my favorite kickboxing athlete named Remy Bonjasky. He's from Holland, a brother from Holland, one of the most successful kickboxers of all time. He said, "Hey, are you ever in Europe?" I'm like, "I'm in Europe sometimes twice a year." That's where my ex-wife was from. And so he said, "I'd like to have you come over and train." So I trained with him.
Mm-hmm. Man, that's a hell of a story, man.
Yeah,
That's a hell of a story.
that's incredible. So can you help me as someone who's not up on fighting in kickboxing and Muay Thai and MMA? Can you give me
Mhm.
like a the some of the differences between some of those things that you've just named?
Yes.
For myself, but for some of the listeners that just may not be as familiar as the subtle differences between them.
Mm.
Yeah, so we'll start with my base art of what we teach now is called Dutch kickboxing. It
Okay.
is heavy on Western style boxing, lots
Mm.
of kicking to the legs and also the head, but there's no elbows. There's a limited clinch, and that is what we specialize in also. And Muay Thai boxing, which is from Thailand, that's with the elbows, heavy clinch, low kicks,
Mm.
and then mixed martial arts is almost everything in between. You have your kickboxing, your Muay Thai,
Yep.
you have your wrestling, you You have your jujitsu, and we also teach that. Also, we have professionals actually in all the arts, exception of Muay Thai. We have professional kickboxers. We have professional mixed martial artists in my gym, and we also have high level Taekwondo and karate. Yeah.
Wow. Can I do a quick follow up? Like with with the kids today, what seems to be the popular, I guess you see more kids getting involved in? Is there one that's a little bit more popular over the other as far as people say, hey, I want to learn that, or I want to learn those skill sets?
Right now, in I'll just speak for my market, and it's not to speak offensively against some of my competitors, but I am going to tell people I am a fighter. All right. And I am also very competitive, but I'll always tell you the truth. People put their kids in certain martial arts schools or karate schools that give away black belts. A 10-year-old walk on in a black belt. That is detrimental to your art and disrespectful to all the people that have earned black belts. And so I'm not afraid to bring that to the forefront, you know. But so it's very popular to have kids train in certain martial arts or in karate or what they deem as karate or sport karate.
Right.
So kids do train in that. They do learn good discipline. They learn health and fitness and respect for others. So I will not knock that. But at the same time, a 10-year-old shouldn't be walking around in a first or second degree black belt. Maybe call it a junior black belt or not even sport karate. But because it's not really conducive to them really protecting themselves. Because they're not either strong enough or they haven't taught them enough to build their IQ actually in martial arts. So in our
I'm sorry, go ahead. I'm finished.
So in our gym, we do have a children's program, but they're on the same exact curriculum as our adults. So they're learning actually adult martial arts. They're not playing little games in class and dodgeball in class. They're learning martial arts to be an effective martial artist.
Yeah, I was just going to say that isn't that doing the exact opposite of what karate is supposed to be? Teaching kids and providing, the discipline, the working hard, having to invest into something time-wise, physically, mentally over time to accomplish that versus just saying, hey, here you go.
One of the things that had rubbed me the wrong way when I got back from Iraq was I went to go watch my sister compete, and I saw a 12-year-old walk up to me, and I think I was a second-degree black belt at the time, and he was like, "Hi, I'm Mr. Robertson," or something like that. And I was like, "Okay, what's your first name? I'm not gonna."
You got to go through puberty first for me to call you. Think about calling you Mister.
And so I respect the martial arts and what they do for people, but then you've heard the term McDojos, whatnot. I'm not into packing 40 or 50 kids into a gym and putting them all in black belts, and just because they can do front handsprings and back handsprings, whatnot, if that's what it is, that's gymnastics. I'm up to putting our kids against them in competition, but they won't. And it's where in martial arts, you want to prove how good you really are. Sometimes not every gym is a competitive gym, but the only way that you can test your theories in martial arts, like Bruce Lee said, is putting it against another person. Anybody can punch paper, break bricks or boards and say that they're big time this or that. But that's what I love about MMA. You get to see who the best of the best is. That's what I love about kickboxing and Muay Thai competitive. It is real. It is impactful on the body, but you get to see that it really works in a self-defense scenario, because we don't teach the cross the arms and do a palm strike. That's not effective martial arts. We're going to teach you how to really live. And that's why my sister and I can say our martial art is tried and true. We're also soldiers that had to protect ourselves hands-on before, and we are able to put our real life skills to work.
Yeah, man. But when you said that, it made me think of I love Bruce Lee, and he said he's like, boards don't hit back. And in one scene, and then he tightened up dude real quick. I wanted to ask you about the market, like the size of the market. How, like,
Mhm.
is this $1 million or $1 billion market? Because I have no idea like how large this is. I'm just very curious like how big the martial arts market is. And the reason I'm thinking about this is that I don't know if there's many African American individuals like yourself that are truly taking advantage of this. And
Right.
I actually know how to enter the market and have the skills to do that. So if you have some information about that, I would love to hear about it.
Yeah. So we'll segue into my other business, Bushido 3, which is a
Mhm.
fight promotion. It is a professional kickboxing fight promotion. We have professionals and amateurs, and there is a lot of money to be made because you have MMA fights every weekend almost. You have kickboxing fights. You have some Muay Thai fights. So the fighting industry, there is over $1 billion that can be had. But I try to tell young Black people or people that have money to invest, whatnot, the fight game, not just for me to try to go out and get sponsorship or investment,
Mhm.
the money is there. I mean,
Hmm.
at my last fight, we sold well over 1,100 tickets here in Madison for kickboxing, for professional kickboxing. We had tickets that sell between $85, 55, and 35 for standing. And so the money is there.
Mhm.
People that
Yes, it is.
my competitors told me all the time, there is no money there. You don't want to do this, man. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. Or you need to have this much in the bank or you can't start a show. And I'm the first person, like I said, I tell the truth because I stand behind the truth and stand on top of that, is that I started Bushido 3 exactly with $1. All I did was get my LLC. I found a couple sponsors, title sponsors that sponsored the show so that I could get my venue, so I could get my insurance, and so that I could get the ring rented. After that, the rest was straight money of it was straight money in our pockets. So there is tons of money to be made. Dana White doesn't want competition because he's making all that money. Glory Kickboxing, which I love Glory, and I know the former owners of Glory Kickboxing. That's the biggest kickboxing organization in the world. It's the same thing, you know. They wouldn't be doing it if there wasn't any money in it.
Right.
There's
Right.
tons to be made, especially where me as a promoter, once again, telling the truth is amateurs you can't pay. You can't pay amateurs anything. You can give them a cut of their ticket sales. That's a lot easier than paying them thousands of dollars, you know, to fight on your show. So you build off the amateurs and then you pay some of your pros, where you might have a professional show that has 10 amateur fights and 2 professional fights, make a full card. So the money is definitely there. Sponsorship is there. Companies are out there where they have it in their bylaws that they must give back to their community and sponsor certain projects. And so that's how you go after that money and go get it.
That's what's up. So welcome to the show, Opal. You know what I'm
Hey,
saying?
Opal.
Hey y'all, hey y'all. Sorry and thank y'all. I'm fascinated already though. Lawrence, with your tell the truth piece. I love that. It just makes me think like there's got to be a huge differentiator for you, because when you said that piece, no disrespect to anyone, but about the 10-year-old black belt, like I have this in my mind when someone says it, they're like, you know what I mean? I did Taekwondo way back in the day. And Dr. Peck, he was like that too. There were no 10-year-old black belts. We were white and yellow. That's it. Years yellow belt right here. Okay, so I love that you're saying that. So I imagine that would bring in fighters who want to be with you as you're telling the truth, as you're being true to the art. Do you see that as a huge differentiator for you, just having that authenticity within your brand?
Yeah, if the person definitely is after the truth and they want to be the best they can be, I tell them, hey, we can get you there. And it's almost, martial arts is like a religion. You know, if you don't teach it right, you'll have a full gym. You teach it right and tell them, I'm sorry, you're not fighting in 3 months, but I can take you to the level that you want to be, but it's going to take time and work. Then sometimes you have a little less students. I've always had a small gym, but right now by square footage, we have one of the biggest kickboxing gyms in Madison and also in Wisconsin for the square footage that we have. But we still have a manageable number of students, and we have some champions. I've had guys that were national champions and world champions in kickboxing driving up from Rockford for me to train them. And that lets us know that we're teaching it correctly. We've put out, we definitely have had our very own success in mixed martial arts. We've produced Alton Cunningham when he was an amateur. He won 3 mixed martial arts championships under us. We have Kalen Hull. He was the heavyweight champion under us, and they've both gone to the LFA, which is the feeder organization to the UFC. Alton Cunningham, under our guidance, went to the Dana White Contender Series, which is a UFC offshoot, which that if you win that and he likes you, you get to go to the UFC. So we are flown out to Vegas. We've been to the biggest shows. Wow. We don't have the biggest gym, but we've been to the biggest shows, definitely. And we also bring in world-class trainers from Europe to train my students, and they don't have to pay anything extra for that. We take care of that too. Yeah.
So I'm interested in, I'm fascinated by what how the marketing works, the marketing piece, and I know that you have 2 aspects to it. So one, as far as marketing your gym, is that does the marketing happen more word of mouth in your business than anything else? And then 2, like you said, people discouraged you from trying to put on events here in this area, in this market. What have you done, or what can other people learn from that you've done from a marketing standpoint with the promotion aspect as well when it comes to fights? So a little bit of a 2-part question, but very interested in the marketing aspects on both.
So the funny thing is, I'm not a big marketing guy, but for some reason I marketed Bushido 3 correctly, and all of our shows have sold out. And that's huge, because generally your first show doesn't sell out. And if you didn't sell out your first, your second, and so forth, may not, but they can pick up if you get the right names on your show. So I used Facebook because I have a lot of contacts on my Facebook. A lot of people follow me because when I'm over in Amsterdam training kickboxing, I train with the former was world champion up until 2 months ago, Gegard Mousasi of mixed martial arts. And Gegard was a top guy in the UFC, and he left the UFC ranked number 2 or 3 to go be a champion in Bellator. And he beat all the top 5 guys in the UFC, exception of Anderson Silva. And he's one of my guys I get to train with, that I get to talk to. And so that's good marketing when people say, oh man, you're training with this guy. And it's not like, the coolest thing is I don't have to pay, because they respect my skills from over 35 years in martial arts. They're like, no, Lawrence is coming over. Hey, we're going to train with him, or else I teach a seminar when I'm over there in Amsterdam. And so it's really good to be respected. So a lot of people say, oh, wow, that's who I want to train with. And then my sister, she had a really awesome fighting career as a martial artist, and she's also part owner of Perfect Moves Martial Arts. And so there were 7 years where she didn't lose. She'd show up to full contact fights, and the ladies would see her, and they'd zip their bag up and walk away. They didn't want it, She also boxed in the Army. So that's also one of our marketing points, is when people look up our backgrounds or ask us about our background. So they're like, hey, I want that. Or they want a smaller gym, or where it's not full of people. Like we had 13 people that came to class on Monday. And so 13 people is not where you can't manage that. It's a good feeling to say, hey, the instructor is going to get around to you. So that's really good, makes it feel good. And so it's word of mouth. It's our Facebook page. Our Facebook does well. And then we also have a little Google site that's out there. So we get a lot of phone calls throughout the week. That works out good. But with Bushido 3, that just took off with our Facebook basically. And I put a couple dollars, maybe no more than $20 in ads where I could send out on Facebook. And I mean, up until a half hour before the show, I'm still selling tickets. And it was like, ding, 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 ding. I'm like, okay, guys, you just come. And it was amazing at the last show to see people at the front door wrapped around and out the parking lot waiting.
Wow.
And it was amazing that's what basically $20 of Facebook marketing did. Now I have a young man that works for Epic and also has a marketing degree. So we're going to probably put him to work and see what he can do on helping to build the gym a little bit more. And also when we get our next show, It's just, you know, it's good to have people that can show me more things, because I'm a martial artist. I'm a businessman on the side of I sell pipe. But the thing is marketing, I can understand. I don't have a black belt in marketing. I figured out some things that on the pipe game that can make it go. But if we can do 1,100 plus tickets, then I believe that, hey, the next goal is do 17, 18, or 2,000 tickets at the next show.
Absolutely.
Is to keep setting goals, because we went from right around 600 on our first show to 650 on our second, and then that 100 plus on our third show was really good.
I think your I think that your brand and your reputation, kind of going back to what Opal was saying, of you keeping it real, just on a human level, that spreads through your business too, right? So when people see that and they see the results that you create, that's just going to attract them. So that word of mouth is the most powerful thing for marketing. So the fact that you spent $20 on a Facebook ad and you got that kind of results,
right?
You're headed for the stars as soon as this marketing person gets in, as long as they encapsulate everything that you represent. That's a beautiful thing.
100%.
Never giving up. I think that's the biggest thing. Never giving up, letting people discourage you, because I once again, I keep it real. They will discourage us because they don't want to share any of that pie. You can't eat that pie, but you can have a little bit of that over there. Don't take that, you know. Figure out, as President Obama said before, figure out how you can get a seat not at the table but at the head one day. And so definitely that is what I'm after. I could go after I could try to be an MMA promoter, but kickboxing is what I know better than most. And I can still do MMA, don't get it wrong, because business is business. And we've been through that world. I think my sister and I have coached well over 50 or 60 fights in MMA, and way more than that in kickboxing. So it's not like we don't know how to put a show together, how to make it run. It's just that we have our niche right now, which is kickboxing. Build it, let people have an outlet, pay them correctly. And that's another thing that our business does is Bushido 3 pays very well, because this is not my day job. This is not what pays Lawrence Pearson. What pays Lawrence Pearson's bills is First Supply.
That's dope, man. So I had one question too. How did your military experience kind of influence how you run your businesses? Because I know it's got to have some sort of impact on how you do things.
Yeah, the discipline, definitely making sure that I get everything written down, making sure I accomplish what's on the paper in that time frame that is set before. Making sure that I have confidence, and making sure that just because I own a business, that money doesn't go in my pocket, all of it.
That's right.
Some of it, because of selfless service, it goes back to my community. We still give tickets away to all my shows to our community, and we also give free martial arts scholarships to kids and adults in the community that need the help. And we make sure that even if my business isn't doing good, we're still going to give back, because that's the most important thing. And you don't wait until you're successful to help people. You help people before you're successful, and I believe God will bless you.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a theme we hear from folks that come on. Like, everyone, when we reach out to folks and have folks on here, like, it's not just that you're doing amazing in your field or your industry or your business. You're also giving back and contributing to this community. So I love to hear that. Building off a little bit of Bradley's question, kind of around the military, I imagine that experience exposes you to different countries. And I've also heard that you talked about training in Amsterdam and things. What business gems or any really work ethic gems that you have that you've been able to see because you've got a global business and you've been able to kind of travel the world that are different than someone who's just only been, in the United States or even in Wisconsin? What things can you offer to our listeners from that?
Reach out, make friends, because that's the most important thing. Learn about different cultures. That's one of the things I learned in the military is you may not eat this in your normal diet, but because we're trying to make friends with these people that are in our sector, you want to, hey, sit down, have a meal with somebody, ask them, and be genuinely engaged with them. And by me doing that, I've made lifelong friendships in Amsterdam with the very best in kickboxing, with the champion, one of the 6-time world champions. He's like, Lawrence, you don't stay at the bed and breakfast or hotels anymore. You stay at my house. And I'm just like, wow, okay, cool. Or when I have Remy Bonjasky, which is considered the greatest heavyweight kickboxing person out there, he's like, you don't need to take a taxi. I'll drive you back to your place, you know? So you make those type of connections with people. And even when I'm not going over there, throw them a text or an email. Hey, I'm just checking in on you, seeing how you're doing.
Yeah.
It's a something I learned in the military. You build friendships, brotherhoods, sisterhoods with those people, and really, really get down to it and be genuine. Because when you're out in another country and people are shooting at you, you better have some friends that aren't just Americans. Because if you're not friends with the locals, you ain't coming home.
Right.
You know.
Mhm.
And it does definitely let me know, no matter what I'm faced with, because I was in Baghdad in firefights before, in Sadr City, which was considered one of the worst areas in Baghdad. And you really learn what you're made of. And know that you can't curl up in a ball and cry. I remember one year I was doing a martial arts demonstration and my kneecap popped off and my quadricep blew up. Bradley, I believe you were there.
I remember. Was that with a dude? You were wrestling with the dude on the ground. You were trying to show a move. I remember. I remember being there.
Was a year after that. And so my kneecap popped off. Yeah, and I had to be taken away by the ambulance. And at that split second, I was already thinking about trying to go for a world title in Muay Thai. And also, that would have been my year that I possibly could have turned pro in bodybuilding, because I just finished up third in the nation. And I lost it all within a split second. And yeah, I cried about it for a minute. I lost all my sponsorship. It happened on a Sunday, and all my sponsors cut me by a Tuesday.
Oh, wow.
And so to go from I was making very good money, I'd have to say, without even having to win the bodybuilding shows. I would just show up and my check was already been in the mail, you know, or my equipment had already been delivered to my house and put together, or at my parents' house, because I worked out deals where my mom was my manager. And I was like, well, if I have this piece of equipment at my house, I want the same thing at my parents' house, you know, because when I'm over there training, I can train on the same piece of equipment. So I did lose that, but then I sat down, regrouped, as I said, that you must do sometimes, is regroup. And I said, well, let me try to be the best trainer I can be. And that's what I trained on, and retooled myself to really dig in deep in my martial arts and bodybuilding. And during that time, I turned one young man into a professional bodybuilder, another one into a top national bodybuilder. And then since then, I've turned about 5 or 6 people professional in martial arts, whether it's kickboxing or MMA.
Wow. That's
and
amazing.
I came out of retirement after retiring at 27 years old as a fighter to come back and be the featured bout over in the Netherlands.
Okay.
I see. The doctor
all right.
So you got a trophy wall somewhere in your home. We're just saying.
You know, the funny thing is, I have taken down all the trophies. They are in the washroom down in the basement now. I don't. Yeah, I used to really love stacking those things up and all the pictures and whatnot, and doing it at my parents' house. But then I just said, hey, no, let me create our own trophy for Bushido 3, and that's the one that shines the brightest for me, is being able to do that.
Nice.
It's dope.
So there's a bunch of things zooming around in my head, to be honest. I'm trying to grab one of them, because what you just said, it just has me thinking of so many things. So I mean, can you speak to, and the way I'm absorbing it, how hard it is to be a trainer nowadays? And when I say that, because it seems like you are not only the motivator, but you're the dietitian. You're not only the dietitian, but in some ways you're the psychologist. Not only are you the psychologist, but at the same time you are training somebody for a specific skill set. whether it may be Muay Thai or kickboxing or whatever it may be. Like, one, how hard is that to do? And then how hard is it for someone that says, hey, I think that's what I want to do? How hard is it for someone to actually, I guess, obtain those type of skill sets to whether work alongside you or to start their own gym? I mean, it just seems that there's so many things that you have to be able to control, monitor, and it's almost like a chess game with folks. Like, can you just speak to how hard that is and what someone would need to do to try to obtain those type of skill sets?
Number one thing, you don't sleep. You don't sleep. That's the hard thing. Because I have a day job, so I have to think about that. But learn about how much sleep you do need how much you need, and be able to utilize that, and then have that plan. Because I've been doing martial arts 35 years. So my sister and I, with me being a competitive bodybuilder, we studied diet, exercise, not just for bodybuilders. We came up with our own exercises, workouts for martial artists to help them become better. It's just, we studied. We took group exercise certification classes when we were in college. We both became masters of fitness in the Army, where you have to be top fitness in the Army. And one of the things is we took our fitness serious. My sister was always a better runner than I was, so that I had to get better. And I reached out to my sister, which lives next door. Hey, help me out with this running so I can keep getting a better score. And she helped me. And so that helped us get, hey, what made you better? Writing everything down. One of the most important things I have right here is an external hard drive that I keep with me, and I always get on my computer or my tablet, save, write down, study. I have tons of books. I'm in online certification courses that I take. Sometimes because we've done it for so long, we're not trying to be cocky, like, oh wait, that's not going to work. But it's good to see what some people are thinking, and then compare it to your notes that you do have. Because when I was injured with my knee injury, I was bedridden for over 2.5 months, couldn't walk, couldn't be bumped. And I got up from 164 pounds is what I weighed, because I was almost in competition shape, because I just got done with competition. And I blew up to over 228 pounds. I went from 5% body fat to almost 30% body fat. And when they finally gave me the go ahead on how to get in shape, I got myself back into shape. And I wrote down, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is what I did to get my knee stronger. And then the VA hospital actually put it in their protocol on how to train somebody that would go through these type of injuries. So it really helped write things down. If you write things down and have comparisons to what it is, it can definitely help you.
Man,
and so it is hard, but if somebody's going to start a business, be a professional, get the certifications, go through a full curriculum. Don't just be a blue belt and say, hey, I want to start a martial arts school. Go see if you can get a black belt first, because you want to tell somebody to do something or ask them to do something. Have you done it before? I've never fought MMA, but I fought kickboxing. I fought full contact, no holds barred. So I'll tell guys all day, every day, hey, I know how to fight. And every Monday I go in and spar with my guys. It's part of owning your business, so they can respect you, get the respect in your job field, just like going to college and getting your degree. Get that respect, show the people that you're not afraid to work and do the workload, and try to become one of the best. Because being black, you can be second place. I'll tell you that now.
Thanks.
Right. That's real.
Thanks.
That's real. That's real.
Thanks.
This is making me think about, like, you're building these businesses, but you're building teams too. So what's your philosophy? This is a 2-part question, by the way. So what's your philosophy about, like, how you build a successful team? Like, how do you do that? And secondly, are you still making beats?
What?
What?
Okay.
I want to know the second one first.
You didn't think that was coming, did you? Lil?
Right.
Wow, you put me on black on that one.
Yeah,
So
you play me beats,
I'll
man. I
answer
gotta
the
ask
beats
you.
one right now, real quick. No, I haven't made beats in a while, but I do play my music at my gym, and my students, I see them do this every once in a while. Don't know if they're just trying to make me feel good, but I'll play some of my music sometimes. Um, and definitely, your first question was, because it threw me off when you asked me about beats.
First question was just like how you building teams, because you obviously
Yeah.
know how to build a team in an executive environment and a professional
Yeah.
business environment.
So what you want to do? Yeah, you want to see. I use the Army values. You're like, is this person a loyal person? Will they go out of their way, have self-service? Are they honorable? Do they have integrity when I turn my back? Are they working or not working? Are they a strong person? Do they have personal courage? You know, those are the Army values, but I do use those as personal values that I use to build my team, because actually a lot of people that I hire have been martial artists sometimes, or soldiers. And I look for those traits. Obviously, they have to be qualified, but I do look for those traits too to see if they go good with the team and if they can be taught. So a teammate is not always going for our martial arts gym. I'm not always going to go after the guy that's the most athletic or even the better martial artist. I don't care about that. I'd rather have somebody that does not want to compete and then build them from there. I've had a guy that never wanted to compete, and he went off and won four fights already. I had a young man that came into the gym that said, "Oh no, I just want to train. That's all, because I like MMA." He won on our show, knocked the guy out, and now he's on his way of being a better, stronger martial artist. Competition doesn't have to be in the ring or at work. It can be that fire inside you that builds you.
Word.
So I've heard you talk a bit about your sister. So, who sounds amazing, by the way.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit? Can you talk a little bit about working with family? Because folks are always like, you can't do business with family, which is a lie, because some of our biggest brands are family brands.
Right.
But how does that relationship work? What are the pros? Are there any cons? What are the things that you all have learned to navigate together?
I'm the head instructor. I am her boss. I'm not a hard boss, but there are certain things I have to tell her what I want and how I want to get it done. If your family members can accept rank, then it's understandable. I do outrank her in the martial arts, so she knows that she would not be my boss, and she's all right with that. She is very good at what she does for Perfect Moves and for me, and we both have our roles. Me being the head instructor, me training the fighters predominantly when they have fights coming up. That's my job. Her job is to get them ready before they come to me. So if she's slipping on when they come to me, I let her know. If they're slipping on something that she's seeing me train them on, she'll let me know. So it's not bad. And because we're not making millions of dollars, we don't pay ourselves, so we don't have to worry about, man, I want this or I want that, I'm taking this or that. So it's definitely different, because what we do is we put our money back in our school. We have almost a 3,000 square foot gym. It's not cheap. So one of the things is we sometimes have to say, hey, this is what we're doing this month. This is what we're doing. Here's when we're going to have a self-defense seminar, whatnot, to bring more money in. So we definitely, we work good together. We do get under each other's skin every once in a while. In the past, now that we're old, I'm 43, she's 46 or something like that. We would put on the gloves and say, let's go. Sometimes that's how we do it. And to some people it's weird, but it's funny because she's a social worker, and I'm a manager for a large company, but I always tell people I might sit at a desk, but we like to fight. And so that's what we do. Like, as much as people like to play basketball, we like to go in and put in 5 to 10 rounds sometimes, and with our students, or go to other gyms out of town and go put in some hard rounds, and that makes us feel better. So my sister and I, sometimes when we were younger, especially when we were in our 30s, we just go ahead and put the clock on and go at it and say, okay, you won this one. Okay, this is what we'll do now. We grew up like that because my parents were into martial arts also with us as we're through the martial arts. We'd have Saturday's family sparring day, and we'd get it on, and Mom and Dad would win a lot when we were younger, but then as I hit about 15, 16. It was always back and forth with my sister who would win or with me and whatnot. And then my mom and dad finally like, okay, we're done with this,
Right.
But it definitely let us understand what it is to have the family business. So the family business is, hey, try to get to be the best that you can be in martial arts. Definitely.
That's cool.
Yeah, that is wild. I can't imagine sparring sparring with my older brother and sister. Sometimes I think that would be fun for my older brother, but his leg's long, so he got that reach. I don't know if I'd end up on the right end. I wanted to ask a question about the pandemic and how did that, if at all, how did that affect your business or change your business, or did it make you pivot to add something different to your business that you didn't have to add before? So I was really interested in what that pandemic impact was on your business.
Yeah, it was very detrimental to us. It hurt my gym. Our numbers were doing really well, and it hurt us where people did stop coming for a while. So we were able to get our real loyal students back, but it was definitely where it was rough at times. Because we're like, is this person coming back? Sometimes they would, sometimes it wouldn't. And then we were able to get the PPP loan, but we were like, oh, we'll just take this a little bit because we'll bounce right back. We should have took more because they forgave a lot of that. So, but hindsight's 2020. Yeah. But at first, for me, on a personal level, it was never a problem for me to fill in the gaps because I was married and I make a pretty fair amount of. I'm compensated properly where I work, so I'd always be able to say, "Oh, we had this person fail to pay. Okay, I got that. I got that one. I got that one." And when I went through my divorce, I don't have that type of money anymore. So it's definitely where we have to chase the money. We have to go after it, and that did hurt us during that time. But on the Bushido side, I waited a little bit longer than most promoters did to launch my show. I made the buzz about my show first, so people were like, "Hey, oh man, they're coming back." So then I'd have more people saying, "Hey, we want to get part of this, get part of it." And again, we started Bushido 3 relaunch basically with $0, and we got the proper sponsorship, and we found a sponsor that said, "Hey, we'll be a title sponsor." We got everything, So that really helped and relaunched it. And so Bushido 3 wasn't affected as much, other than we couldn't have shows during COVID. But then what helped was people got to see what my students were doing on Bushido 3. And we did sign some new students, and we have some new fighters that are definitely did and will do well. So it did affect us. But I think that we'll bounce back because Perfect Moves has been around since 1999. If it is for me to shut the doors to Perfect Moves or Bushido 3, I can say that I can close my gym today. I have accomplished everything that I set out. I was, how old was I? As 8 years old, I've accomplished everything I wanted to. I wanted to be master. I did. First done martial arts, won fights. So I could call it quits today, and I feel like I've accomplished what I wanted to.
That's what's up.
Nice. That's often like the mindset that brings those beyond dreams, right? Like when you get there and you're content and you're good, that I always see that bringing great energy of like the next level is so amazing. That is awesome.
Cool. So what's next for you? I know there was a time when you were we've had conversations, Lawrence, where you were talking about doing a podcast. I don't know. Are you still doing your podcast?
I was doing it for a while. It just got to be a little much. I think I did over 20 to 25 shows on my podcast. It was international throughout Europe. I have some contacts over in Europe and also in the US. I was able to interview people all the way from Serbia to obviously Amsterdam, England, a brother from Africa. I can't remember the country right now, but he is a world kickboxing champion. Also, we got to train together. So I in preparation for one of my fights, and so it was really good that we had an international audience. We had a national audience too. I've interviewed people from Canada, obviously people from Wisconsin, Iowa, Illinois, whatnot. So definitely, I really like doing the podcast, but sometimes you do have to be that person that can rein yourself in too, because you don't want other things to fail. And I was waking up sometimes 3 o'clock in the morning to interview people over in Serbia. And it's like, okay, this is cool. And in Germany too, I've interviewed people in Germany. So it's like either wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning or do it real late at night. And it wasn't a tear down on me, but tearing my body down. But I just felt like, hey, it's going good, but let's also get back to business of training the fighters, getting them ready, and get back to business that way when we open back up. So I did it a lot when it was COVID time. So it really did do good. There's a couple spots where we had almost 1,000 people watch our show. So it's definitely where we try to do it. I might do it again. I have all the equipment to do it, and it's not like I'm gonna let it go all the way. I think we'll bring it back.
Cool.
Nice. Perfect. When you talk about like the fight shows, like the in-person shows, what does that typical audience look like? Is that families? Is that young adults? Is it everybody? What's the mix you usually see?
Everything. We'll see family members. We'll see potential clients. We'll see fight fans. There are people that didn't know anybody on the card, but they say that fight, oh yeah, we'll pay money for it. So those are the type of people you want to hit too. So you'll see a little bit of everything. Just like if you go to a UFC fight, say at the United Center, we bring the same type of crowd where it's not a direct demographic. It's just 18 to 25-year-old white males, as UFC pretty much is. That's their big bulk. But we also have across the board where it's family members and friends, because that individual that's fighting on my card, they have to sell tickets, and so they're going to reach out to their boss, their employers, their friends, their neighbors, whatnot. Heck, my neighbors across the street have been to my show, and my neighbors down the street have been to my show. Obviously, my employers, because they sponsor my show, also they come. My clients come to my show, so that's how we spread the word of martial arts.
Yeah. Who wouldn't? Like, if one of my coworkers was fighting, I'm like, I definitely want to see that side. Like, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I was gonna fight on my last show, but it just got a little too busy for me, and the show got big. I didn't think it was gonna be that big, and I said, hey, this isn't about me. Let it be about the fighters. And so I was only going to jump on my show if I thought I was only going to sell 350 tickets. But I was like, hey, I got a brand I want to continue on. And I was getting in shape for the fight and everything. But then it worked out that I didn't have to fight. I was a little bummed because, like I said, I do like to fight. But I knew what was important. And it's the martial artists. It's their day and their time now.
So I'm interested, and we're always interested every episode in book recommendations. We all love to read. Well, I love to listen more than actually read it. I'll just be honest. But and our audience, has been really following book recommendations and adding them into things that they may try to pick up, and read or put in Audible. So I'm interested if you have any book recommendations for us and our listeners.
Let me see here. Obviously, I'm a Bruce Lee fan. The Tao Kundo, where it explains what martial arts is about. It explains his art of Jeet Kune Do, and it's ahead of its time, definitely, because it explains why you want to be well-rounded as a martial artist.
Okay.
And then one of my other.
Would you mind spelling that one? Because I don't want to miss that.
I know I did some inventive spelling on that.
Tao.
Okay.
Space Jeet Kune Do. That's JEET. Space KUNE. Space DO.
Okay. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
And then one of the other books, it's a bodybuilding book, but it really hits home about my faith. And it's from my favorite bodybuilder named Lee Haney. It's about his testimony. It's just Lee Haney. It's about his testimony, but it talks about the hard work that it takes to become a champion. The coolest thing I'll briefly talk about is that I met him at the Arnold Classic where there's over 150,000 people. I was like a kid. I was like, oh my goodness, this is Lee Haney. He prayed over my wife that was pregnant with my daughter at the time. And years later, we became Facebook friends. Now he comments like on all my pictures and shoots me texts. And
yo, that's dope.
That is
and the important thing that I try to tell people, Lee Haney is the greatest bodybuilder to ever live. Beat Arnold Schwarzenegger's record, the first black man to do it 8 times in a row, you know?
Wow.
And it was magnificent. He doesn't get the props from the rest of the world because everybody's like, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Right.
But Lee Haney was the most complete bodybuilder. He didn't have a weak body part. He had the complete body. He wrote some books on his workouts, his diets. They work. I used them all the way through my bodybuilding career. It helped me be a champion. So definitely, I'd say anything that he wrote, Lee Haney, is definitely a book that I own, I have, and I've given to my parents, and I give them away as gifts sometimes. Yeah.
Is that the one that's called The Ultimate Body? The Ultimate Bodybuilding? That one?
Yep, that's one of them.
Okay.
That one's a good one. That has a couple pages in it from his future book, which was called His Testimony. Yeah, I think it's called. I have to look it up. I keep it by my bed, but I don't look at the title. But it's definitely a good book. Yeah.
That's awesome. I had not heard of him, so he must have been one of those hidden figures. How they, we do something twice as hard before somebody else or right after somebody else and don't get the credit.
The amazing thing is he retired at 32 years old from bodybuilding. And I guarantee he hasn't had to work a normal job since. And he retired. He retired in 1991 after his last win. Yeah.
Wow.
And he also gives back to his community. One of his things was called the Harvest House, and so definitely he's been an inspiration to me, and being able to talk to him has been huge.
That's cool, man. So I have one more personal question for you, Lawrence. Have you ever had someone off the street? Because I've seen videos where these dudes think they're tough and they try to come into like a martial arts studio and try to get it in with someone like, man, I'm the man on the streets. I'll beat up anyone. Have you ever had a situation like that happen in your studio?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I'd say I have it probably every year. I had a young man from Arizona come up and thought he was really a tough guy, and he was a wrestler, whatnot. And I said, well, we're doing kickboxing rules today. And he was like, yeah. So I was throwing punching and kicking, not going hard on him. I was basically just warming up because I just knew he didn't have that skill set. And he goes, let's go hard. I was like, no, you're not there. Because there's a difference. I'm a pro. He's not. And he wrestled at college or something, but not at the highest level. So he took me down. I got back up, and I was like, this is kickboxing rules. And so he took me down again, and I stopped the takedown this next time, and I got upset. As soon as we broke, I did a little bit of movement, and then I kicked him in the head and knocked him out. And he had a headgear on. I had shin guards on, but it's a different ball game when you're going against somebody that's really trained, because people think that they have headgear on that they're not going to get knocked out. And the thing was, it was like I told him not to go after my knee because I've had my knee operated twice. And so I was like, if you want to go there, we'll go there. And I get guys that come in and say, I'm from this gym and that gym, let's go hard. And once again, I'm a competitive person. My we always joke around and say, when they ask for the smoke and you give them the smoke, they don't want it no more. And so, so we go through that sometimes. Because we'll get guys, I train Muay Thai here, and then I'm like, okay. Sometimes I used to have my sister go with them first, but then she doesn't spar as often as she used to. So now I'll say, okay, fine. I'll spar with the guy and see if he's got a Muay Thai background or a kickboxing background, and it's not on the level of some of our students. And so sometimes you go hard, sometimes you don't, or you just hit them just right, where then they will say, okay, ooh, yeah, I'm not there.
Mhm.
So it's
Right.
what I learned in Amsterdam, give them what we call a liver shot, punch them in the stomach, and you'll see them go down, and you don't hurt them, and you don't have to knock them out in the head or give them concussion. Punching them in the stomach, they'll curl over and cry like a baby sometimes. It's happened to me. It happened to me, so I'm not invincible when I was in Holland. But, yeah, definitely. It's always, sometimes you got to humble them. Sometimes you say, hey,
Yeah.
we're not that type of gym, or we're not the gym for you like that.
Right.
But definitely, if you want to learn, we can do that. Yeah.
Cool.
All right, I'm gonna insert this one as the last one. So I'm interested if you watch the what is the series on Netflix that brought back
Cobra Kai.
Daniel
I
from
was
Karate?
going
Oh,
to
yeah,
Cobra
yeah,
Kai.
yeah.
Yeah. God, that's that.
I have to ask that one.
Yeah, definitely. I am a Karate Kid Cobra Kai fan. I like it. It's funny, it's a bunch of hat squash, whatever. But I really do enjoy the show. I don't watch a lot of TV, but I do every once in a while I'll binge watch something on a Friday night and be ready to teach by Saturday morning and get back to business. But definitely,
Right.
it's a good show.
Cobra Kai. All right.
Right. So which is your philosophy closer to Cobra Kai, Miyagi-Do, or Eagle Fang?
Oh, it's hard. It's changed. It's changed. As the fight game has gotten more competitive, definitely for us. So at times I am Miyagi-Do, and at times it's the other two are so extreme. But we're like Miyagi-Do, where we don't care if we fight or not. I have promoters that call me all the time asking for my fighters. I ask them if they want to do it. They're like, "No, I'm working." So sometimes they'll keep pushing. So I'm type fighter. When you poke us, then we'll fight. You poke us too hard, we'll fight. So I'm in the middle of of that. But Miyagi-Do, those are the ones I like actually.
Nice.
Where hey, we just train for fun. If a guy wants to compete, fine. But just don't be too cocky, because there's always somebody that can beat you. There's always somebody that can teach you something, and that's what where I'm at, because somebody took their time to teach me. Whether it was in the military, whether it's in martial arts, or in the business that I work in. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Still.
All right. Cobra Kai. We got thumbs up. I still haven't seen it yet. I'm
You
like the
haven't
last
seen
one
it?
who hasn't seen it.
My
You
parents
gotta see
even
it.
watch
You got to sit down and check it out, man. You got to check it out, man.
All right. For our listeners, make sure to check out Bushido 3 on Facebook for the next fight. Is there a fight already scheduled or something coming
Not
up? Or they
scheduled,
just need to
but we're
join?
going to do a big one either in January or February for Black History. It's going to be the biggest one ever. We're giving away championship European Cup trophies, and also championship rings that's similar to what the Bucks wear. I've already had the rings made.
Wow.
So definitely that's going to be the talking piece, and that's what we're going to be doing at the next show.
That's
So that's
start fighting, bro.
Yeah.
Want me some ice, Master P. You know what I'm saying?
I didn't say they're real diamonds, though. Don't wear them on a rainy day.
So for our listeners, make sure to jump on Facebook, follow Bushido 3, and also Perfect Moves Martial Arts. Are you taking any people at Perfect Moves and any students right now?
Yes, we are. We're always open to taking new students. We have a full curriculum, and we're open 6 out of 7 days of the week. Definitely during our beginner stages classes, we have a foundations class, so you can come in from never learning anything and feeling comfortable, having a teacher that's going to teach you how to throw the punches correctly, the kicks correctly, build your flexibility, your confidence. We have all that. My sister takes care of that class mostly, and then I take care of the person after they have advanced.
Cool.
Perfect. And now is there an age limit on that beginner class?
Right.
No age limit. We take 5 years old and up, and we also do personal sessions also. I do personal sessions every so often. You'd be amazed. We've had one student, he's lost 62 pounds since doing our program. We
Nice.
didn't have to adjust his diet very much. He just trains Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays.
Huh.
And it's definitely we have it down to a science, like I said. If it's something that you want to lose weight in and have fun doing it, we do have resistant band training, sandbag training, kettlebells.
Yeah.
We have a lot of different heavy bags that are used. We have hydro bags, which are filled with water. We have the regular Muay Thai bags. We have mitts. So, you know how you've seen Floyd Mayweather doing mitts. My sister and I are also, pretty proficient at mitts. I'd have to say I'm not going to call myself mitt master because that's actually a person's logo, mitt master, but definitely we know how to mitt. We've been doing it for years. And so it's a very fun workout that you can do.
Cool.
That's cool.
Y'all heard it here. 5 and up, it could be anybody. Bradley, that could be you.
It'd be me, man.
I'm gonna show up and look through the window though. I don't know if I'm ready. Well, Lawrence, we appreciate you joining us for Black Currency Podcast and you taking time out of your day to sit and talk with us. And man, there's I know I learned a lot. I know everyone here learned a lot, and I know our listeners really learned as well. So we really appreciate you, taking the time to sit with us.
Absolutely.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you guys and continue doing what you guys are doing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
For our listeners, make sure to check out you're gonna have to play this back because there's a lot in here. Hit up the I'm gonna start with Linktree. Hit up the Linktree first, Black Currency Podcast. That'll have any way you're listening. It'll have links to it, whether it's Apple or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure to follow us on IG at Black Currency Podcast. And make sure to check out the video if you're looking for the visual at youtube.com/radio22. Other than that, we appreciate everybody tuning in. Another episode of Black Currency Podcast. Thank you again, Lawrence. And yeah, we'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.
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 Ain't you sick of giving me your money?
Oh, I know he didn't do it, baby.
Whoa, where you going?
Now I'm about to go make these trouble.